Well, we'll go ahead and call tonight's meeting to order. If able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Pape,
Here?
Councilmember Shavetta,
Here.
Councilmember Kosmeyer,
Here.
Councilmember Hands,
Here.
Councilmember Caldwell,
Here.
Councilmember Leahy,
Here.
Councilmember Ryder,
Here.
Councilmember Silvers,
Here.
Councilmember Yodrich.
Here.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. First item up this evening is members of the public are encouraged to use this time to make comments about matters that do not appear on the agenda. Comments about items on the regular agenda will be taken up as each item is considered. Please note individuals making public comments will be limited to 5 minutes. In accordance with the governing body rules and procedures, the city reserves the right to refuse public comments that are personal, impertinent, or slanderous. I do not have my blue sheet. If somebody could grab that for me. I don't know who might be on that list. We had a sign-in sheet outside, and you bear with us for just a moment. I'll see if anybody signed in. If not, well, then we'll take that in the order for which they signed up. Okay. Thank you, Anna. Okay, first one up this evening would be Justin Gomez. Okay, if you come forward. Oh, excuse me. Well, I'm about to be keeping ordinance. Never mind, I should have read further. Thank you, sir. We'll let you come up at that time. Next one up, well, I guess you're both speaking about the beekeeping ordinance. All right. No one else has signed up but that. Sir, please come forward. Name and address for the record.
Billy Crone, 6633 Wed Street. I'm going to begin my comments tonight sharing some moments with you, a moment of silence out of respect for the tragedy that happened in Minneapolis, ending lives and dividing our nation. Across this country, we are watching government respond to public dissent not with transparency, but with force and suppression. Last year, Bob, you abused government force and policies to suppress petitioning and organizing on city grounds, public spaces, and public forums that are protected by our Constitution. And by asking our staff to waste their time policing Facebook comments and yet another online public forums. What cowardly and disgusting job you have done since taking office. And today, you're making it even worse. You're digging your heels in deeper. This agenda strips citizens of meaningful participation that has been a hallmark of these meetings for decades, long before you ever desecrated these chambers. With the stroke of a pen tonight, you will destroy what remains of Merriam's open government, and you're going to enjoy it. You know, tyranny doesn't always arrive in a riot gear. Sometimes it wears a cheap gray suit and a red tie. Sometimes tyranny arrives in redlined rules and gavelled silence. If you believe in democracy, stop treating public input as a threat, Bob, and start treating it as your obligation, because it is.
Okay, is there anyone else that'd like to come forward this evening? Okay, I see no one else coming forward. We'll close out the public portion section of this meeting. Next item up is the consent agenda. All items listed under this heading are considered to be routine by the City Council, may be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which case that item will be removed and the consent agenda considered separately. We do have 4 items this evening. Does anyone want any of those items removed? See nobody wanting any items removed. I would entertain a motion for that then. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Silvers.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that the council approve consent agenda items number 1 through 4.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Go ahead, Ms. Shadrich.
Mr. Mayor, second.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion and a second.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Kozmeyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Yodrich.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item up this evening is the mayor's report. First item up on that list is the Employee Service Awards for the fourth quarter of 2025. I'll come down.
So this is the opportunity that we get once a quarter to recognize our employees who have been here for a benchmark year, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years. We used to do this all at once a year, but we felt like spreading it out across the different quarters allowed us to focus on these individuals a little bit more, have a little bit more, as opposed to have everybody stand up here at once. We could show a little bit of appreciation to a smaller group. So this particular quarter, we only have 2 folks that are being recognized. The first one who is not here is Sheila Sheridan, with 15 years of dedicated service to our court. We can give it up for Sheila. Then our second employee who's being recognized this evening with 5 years of dedicated service to our Public Works Department is Bronson Peterson. Give it up to Bronson.
All right, thank you.
We also have a couple new employees that we wanted to introduce to the council and the public, several of whom are here tonight that have started in the last quarter. Not only do we recognize those that have hit those benchmark service years, but those that are new to our organization, and we want to share those folks' employment with the city of Merriam, with you, the public, and with our council. First one's Andrea Morgan, who's a planner with our community development department. Second is Sierra White in communications, right over here. Katie Taylor in HR, right over here. And then Kai Richardson in finance in the back. We'll welcome all these new folks to Team Merriam. Please, if you get an opportunity to see them, stop by, say hi, and welcome to the team. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all for joining our team. Okay, new employees. Looks like the next item up I have on our list is the Council President and Vice President elections that are going to be occurring this evening, and I'd like to give Council President Hands a few moments before we do that.
Thank you. It really will be very few moments. I just want to thank all of the council for giving me the opportunity to serve as president and vice president throughout my tenure. It's really been an enjoyable experience. Learned a lot. Hopefully did a good job of encouraging you as you learn your jobs. I've been around here longer than most of you. And I also want to say that I think it's really important that we look toward the future, and my intention is to try to encourage the pool of our leadership to grow and to deepen so that more people are hearing more of the background decisions that are made. So with that, I would like to make 2 nominations, but if you would rather that I do it one at a time, I'd be happy to do that.
I would be glad for you to make whichever nomination you want. I would just like to acknowledge Council President Hands' tenure as president and as vice president over the years, and she has 20-plus years on the council, and I appreciate all of that she's done in training me and teaching me, and I won't ever forget that. She's not leaving us. She's still on the council for 4 more years, but she, I think it's this evening, is going to turn over the helm to additional council people for their training and for their additional leadership opportunities. So, but anyway, let's give Council President Hands a round of applause. With that, I turn the floor back over to you.
Okay, so I have two nominations that I'd like to make, but I'm willing to do them singly or together.
If you think it together is appropriate, then it would be fine. We'll see
All
how that
right.
goes.
I'd like to nominate Councilmember Yodrich for council president, to follow her several terms as council vice president. She's gotten her toes wet for sure, and so I think she's ready to go forward. I'd also like to nominate Councilmember Shavetta as council vice president, because it is time to get going on the next go-around here.
We have a motion and a second for both of those positions. I would entertain a second. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Ryder.
I second that.
Okay, and, well, I guess I say that, and obviously that's been a motion, so we've also now, are there any other nominations before we call for the vote for either of those positions? Okay, just want to make sure that's clear, that we're all on an agreement at this point. Okay, so having said that, I will turn over to Madam Clerk for the call of the council.
Councilmember Kosmeyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Yodrich.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Now let's give the new President, Vice President a round of applause. Thank you both for stepping forward and filling those positions. Okay, next item up, that's not really listed, but I always like to talk a little bit about what I and the council have been doing. You have to bear with me because it's been a month since we actually had our last meeting, since we only had one in December. But I and several council members got to be judges at the city employee chili cook-off. All were good, and I forgot who the winner was. Who was our winner? Yolanda. Yolanda won that. Congrats to her and all the other contestants who
Community
entered
development.
Yeah. What's that? Oh, community development.
Community
Okay,
development,
there you go. Okay. Yeah, Yolanda in community development won that, and it was very good. Okay. But congratulations to all the other contestants, because I wouldn't be a good politician if I didn't say everybody was, great, and we're all winners. And we, as the people that ate that chili, were the biggest winners of all. So, okay. I attended the Johnson County Mayor's Holiday Lunch. I attended that one. We had the old mayors, I should say old mayors, the retired mayors, I should say, I guess. Even though some of them were looking rather old, I might say. But they were also invited. We got to see them. It's nice to bring them up to speed as to what's going on in our cities today. I and numerous staff helped out with the staffing of the Johnson County Christmas Bureau Holiday Store. It was rewarding to volunteer for to actually volunteer for the community and bring a little happiness to those who need a little extra assistance. Rang bells at Sam's Club as a winter project for my Johnson County Kiwanis Club. I attended the Merriam PD Holiday Luncheon. Got to see numerous retired officers. Notice I didn't say old chief. It's always a pleasure to see them, recall old times. I met with Mario Lopez, who's the Shawnee Mission School District Board Representative for the northern part of the county. We discussed ways in which we as a city might be able to help the school district, especially up the north end here. I and several council members met with Direct Development, discussed the Merriam Grand Marketplace and potential tenants. And several council members attended the Johnson Wyandotte County Mayor's Holiday Event. It's always good to meet with other elected officials. Got to meet the new Wyandotte County Mayor. I delivered several food baskets to various Merriam residents on behalf of the Johnson County Kiwanis. Attended the Kansas Legislative meeting at the Sylvester Powell Community Center, which they spoke about things that occurred in the last session and what they anticipate were occurring this year in the upcoming session. Attended the OPFD retirement breakfast, informed them what's going on in Merriam. Attended the Johnson County Kiwanis meeting. I and several council members and staff attended the Northeast Chamber of Commerce State of the City's Luncheon. Each mayor in Northeast Johnson County got a chance to make a presentation on all the great things that each of our cities accomplished in 2025. I kind of felt bad for the other mayors because who followed me. I was one of the first ones and had to try to match all the things that Merriam accomplished, because you guys did a great job. A council member attended the gallery opening down at the community center. Everybody that hasn't seen that, please get down there and check out the new art display. I attended the Johnson County Criminal Advisory Council meeting. We elected Judge Ryan as the chair, District Attorney Howe as the vice president. I and Mr. Engel met with the OPFD Jason Rhodes and gave an interview concerning our 10-year contract and a renewal of our 20-year contract and our 74th anniversary of the city. And that interviews will be shown at the 71st, or excuse me, on the, I don't know what date. Mr. Engel, do you recall? The OPFD Awards ceremony. Hopefully the council's going to be attending. I think a lot of us are going to be there. Okay, there, good. A council member attended the Merriam PD open house. That's great to speak to our officers and publics at this event. Thank you, Chief, for hosting those, and it's always great to give the public a chance to not only meet the officers, they get a chance to see the station and the equipment and learn a little bit more about our department. I think that's a good program you have. I and council member and several staff attended the Northeast Chamber Hospitality Event kickoff. We have several from Merriam. They're going to be in the 2026 leadership class. I'm glad to see that. Get to know the new students, catch up with the past alumni. And a council member with Mr. Engel to prepare tonight's agenda. And staff met with our city auditor to answer questions, gave us the opportunity to discuss any concerns we might have. And I met with IKEA store manager Brandon Adams. They've completed a renovation down there of the restaurant and are trying to prepare for the 2026 FIFA World Cup tournament. They're trying to do something down there as well at that location, and they've been meeting with that group over there. And they said that they're actually one of the top IKEA stores in the country. So that's good to know that they're doing well down here in Merriam. So that's all I had. Did I miss anything from the council? I know that was a long list, but there was 20. I'm sorry, please, Mr. Lay.
I had one. I got to attend the Johnson County Parks and Rec Natural Resource Plan presentation at the Heritage Museum, and it was great to talk about all of the diverse wildlife and plant life that we have in our regional parks here that Johnson County Parks and Rec is managing.
All right. No, that's awesome. Thank you for attending that. Anyone else have anything I missed? Okay. All right. Well, I will close out the mayor's report then, and we will move right along to council items. It looks like the first item up this evening is consider amendments to the governing body rules and procedures. Looks like we've got Mr. Engel coming to the podium.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. The first item on your agenda this evening is consider amendments to the governing body rules and procedures. Governing body rules outline the process and procedures for conducting orderly meetings. They are your rules of procedure for your meetings. You can change them. The next council can change them. You can change them today. You can change them again tomorrow. It's however you would like to establish them. From time to time, we do review those governing body rules to ensure relevancy, appropriateness, and clarity. We identified two possible amendments that the council may want to consider to modify their current existing governing body rules and procedures. The first is outlined in section 1.0, general meeting rules, and it's simply, the question is do you want to continue to meet at 7 o'clock? The question has been asked why we meet at 7 o'clock. I don't have a great answer for that. We've just always met at 7 o'clock. And most Johnson County cities do meet at 7 o'clock. However, as you can see in your action item, there are a handful that don't meet at 7. Most of the ones that don't meet at 7 or deviate from the 7 o'clock start time start earlier. It's a question just simply for the council to chew on. The staff has no particular preference one way or another, but it seemed like the appropriate time to ask because we have been asked the question, why 7 o'clock? And I don't have an answer. But if we decide to change this, we will need to come back with a code change because it is spelled out in code that we start at 7 o'clock. That should not be a hindrance to you changing the time should you want to do so.
So we're gonna have, go ahead, Mr. Silvers.
Well, I would be open to changing it to an earlier time for many reasons, but one is it seems like it creates yet another long day for staff to have to work their full day and then wait until 7 to start this meeting. And so I would want to propose it just to give staff a little bit more time back in their week because I know they attend many things in the evening on top of their day hours.
Okay, any other
Very
discussions?
Nice, but not, but we're good with whatever time.
Whatever time,
Appreciate
okay.
it, yeah.
All right. Ms. Adams, were you going to say something as well?
I was going to say, I also, I think it's worth exploring as well. Obviously, it doesn't matter to me because I don't have small children or children that have dinner times and bedtimes and such. So for the sake of those of us on council who do, I think it's worth hearing their opinions.
I agree. I can come in any time, so I really don't want to really weigh in on this subject, but Ms. Shveta.
It doesn't, I mean, either way, I think is fine. It's nice to go home and have a little bit of time and like have dinner before I come. Personally, it's my personal 2 cents. But I think, you know, either way would be fine. If I left my office and came right here, that's fine too. So, I mean, if everyone else is amenable to it, great. But I don't think it's a huge deal. I mean, I feel like maybe for people to attend, like other, you know, residents also, it might be helpful to have a little later just to like kind of get all of their things taken care of. I don't know. We usually do committee meetings a little bit later too for that reason. So just kind of my 2 cents.
Mr. Leahy?
And I'm pretty comfortable with 7 o'clock. It's a nice, for somebody with 2 kids, it's a nice break between the day to make sure they can get things settled at home before coming here for the night,
Okay.
personally.
Ms. Ryder?
My sentiments are the same as Jacob's. My 2 kids have,
You like 7, it makes,
yeah,
gives you more time.
7 is good for me too. It's a nice break between work and here, so I can get settled and then come here and they're taken care of.
Okay. Any other discussion? Ms. Haynes?
I just think it's amazing. Having been here for 20 years, that's never been a topic before. And I can come anytime, so whatever's convenient.
Okay, well, I think, you correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like 7 o'clock works for the people that have kids at home best. So I think
So-
keeping it at 7, but thanks for thinking of us and
Sounds great.
bringing that subject
I
up.
will say though, if we wanted to move it earlier, I definitely would not be against it.
Yeah.
Just because it is a long start to the week if we go late and late and late. But I want to respect everybody's priorities.
I could do either. Okay. All right.
Okay, so we will sit on that for the time being at 7 o'clock. That absolutely works for your staff also. Second suggested amendment is outlined in 4.0 Citizen Participation, Section A, Business from the Floor. The attached suggested edits seek to clarify several things as it relates to business from the floor. First, if you look at the red line that was included in the agenda, it renames business from the floor public comments, because that's really what it is. It's public comments. It clarifies what public comments are, to provide an opportunity for members of the public to present information to the governing body. It spells out that public comment would occur at the beginning of the matter, would only comments only would be taken on matters directly related to city's programs and services. It would be 3 minutes, and it would be, and it spells out also topics and types of comments that would not be allowed, that would be prohibited. So effectively what it's doing is it's funneling comments at public comment to only comments on matters that directly relate to city programs or services, which is what we're here for. Happy to answer any questions about that. Happy to elaborate on any of those points.
Thank you. I'd like to have a quick discussion, just real quick, on the 6th bullet, profanity. I think sometimes people get very passionate about what they come to council to talk about, and I think sometimes colorful language is the only, and one of the only ways that they can get their point across to us. And I think to limit their ability to use profanity, excluding racial slurs and hate speech, is acceptable, and I have thick enough skin that if someone wants to call me a bad name or wants to use a strong word, you know, I can deal with that. So I think I would prefer that bullet to maybe be changed to racial slurs or hate speech.
Well, yeah, Ms. Rogers,
How,
what's your feelings
to
on
follow up on that, how are we defining profanity? Is it like whatever we think profanity is, or is it, did Ryan weigh in on this? Or?
I mean, I think you know it when you hear it. It's like the Supreme Court definition, you know. But we certainly can remove profanity if we don't want it in there.
Well, now we've discussed it and it's everywhere, so people are thinking about it. So,
Sure. Do you want me to say some words that I think are appropriate? I'm happy to do that. I know
no.
a couple of them. Yeah.
yeah, you have 3 minutes. No, I just think like now that we've pointed it out, what do you think is profanity, Jason?
Yeah.
Well, I think this is where it becomes difficult because there are acceptable words in society that you can say that accentuate your feelings. I'll try to keep it clean here because I am on council, but I think that word is, if needed, is acceptable. The S word is acceptable. To get your point, if someone's really frustrated with something that's going on here, those are very common words that people use to describe how they're feeling. Also, those words are used, have positive connotations, like, not positive connotations, but people don't use it negatively. The F word is used multiple different ways that can show approval or when they're not happy with something. And I just think that limiting people from using words that they might use in their daily life to get their message across to us should be acceptable.
Mr. Lahey, did you have something to add to that?
Yeah, I was just going to add that, I actually tend to agree with Jason on this one, that I think profanity as itself, as a standalone item in the list, I don't feel is necessary, considering the other things that talk about slanderous items or defamation or fighting words as they may be, that those are the things that when the profanity is used in that context, it's crossed the line. But if somebody's upset with a particular item and they want to voice their concern and use a 4-letter word, that's their prerogative. I don't think it really necessitates that we should stop them from speaking for the rest of their 3 minutes.
Okay. Anyone on this side? Okay, go ahead.
So when is enough enough? How many times do you get to say one of those words? I mean, I hear what you're saying, and
When
may not disagree.
it stops becoming about what's on council agenda and city services, that's when
I know,
enough's
but
enough.
from this use of profanity,
Well, it
how
doesn't.
many times does the word get repeated before it's too many?
Well, I would have to say that it doesn't get used very often in these chambers, and then these rules aren't set in stone, and if it becomes an issue, then we can maybe define it or put profanity as a absolute back in. But I don't think it's a problem at this time, and so to put it in there like it is a problem doesn't make sense to me.
Ms. Kuzma?
Yeah, I think what Councilman Silvers says makes a lot of sense. If it's not a problem right now, if it becomes a problem, we can add it in. But we also have that disruptive word in the bullet right above that, and so I think if it is a problem, it would be a problem for being disruptive, not merely the profanity.
Go ahead, Ms. Haynes.
And it seems to me that all of this is actually at the discretion of whoever's sitting in that chair. So, because you would be the one, whoever is the chair would be the one who says that's enough.
Do you want to weigh in on this, Mr. Dink?
Well, I do think that because we are laying out the rules for the nature of this forum, meaning this is a forum for First Amendment speech here, and when we lay out rules like this, we are putting curbs on the speech that can be exercised from that lectern right there. If there were no rules whatsoever, people could walk up there and use hate speech. You could have members of a violent, racially hateful group come up to that lectern and say whatever the heck they want. So you are intentionally, by setting these curbs here, you are intentionally creating a limited public forum as to what can and cannot be said from that lectern. If the mayor gavels who he wants to when there aren't clear rules set, then that opens us up to did he gavel someone who acted in this way and because they were speaking because of the content of their speech, and someone else who may have been acting in the same manner, but we didn't find the content of that speech offensive, now we've got a First Amendment problem. So I do think it's important we have as specific of rules as we can as to what is and is not permitted. I like these rules because they do limit what is said from that lectern to matters and programs and services relating to what the city is doing. But you can go down this list and pretty much most of the behavioral type of curbs that are being placed out there, and you're not alone. Everybody's policies look like this, use a lot of the same words, are going to be somewhat vague and open to interpretation because, you know, Chris is kind of right. I mean, that is a Supreme Court quote. It's about a little bit of a different topic, but you know when you see it. So, I mean, if we want to talk about some of the specific ones, we can. You know, if you wanted to take profanity off of here, and because it hadn't been a problem, and add it back in, I don't think that's a problem. I've seen other policies that have profanity listed.
Okay, thanks, sir. Mr. Lahey, go
What
ahead.
if we just amended it to excessive profanity?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. When
Would that
as if
kind
I
of-
was to gavel it, as Mr. Nick expressed, if it becomes a tirade, it might be. I would think I would gavel that, but if somebody says
That's
a word or
disruptive,
two,
so we're covered.
so maybe
you know.
maybe we still are. You know, when it becomes, you know, it no longer serves the solving the problem itself in the council. So I leave it up to you, the council, as to whether you want that removed or not. I can go either way.
I would prefer to remove it, strike profanity entirely from the list.
I see a couple heads
See a lot
nodding.
of head nods there.
Okay.
Okay, we can strike that.
Over here, okay, all right. Yeah, we don't obviously want to infringe on somebody's First Amendment rights, but, so, there you go. Yeah. Anything else, Mr. Engel, you'd like to talk to us? You got any questions for Mr. Engel before we move forward with this one?
That's it. We would just remove profanity from the red line that you have in there, in your packet. The rest would go forward as presented. Is that correct?
That's what I understand.
Is that just for the list, or are we still? So I had a question about one of the other items too that wasn't just about limited speech.
Sure.
It was really about the addresses, and we've allowed people to use business addresses when they're here presenting for a business, and we've also allowed people not to provide their address when they've expressed a concern for safety. And I want to make sure that if we're talking about rewriting the rules to clearly state that we either make accommodations or we clearly state what addresses can and can't be used.
Okay. How would we want to do that?
At least for personal address, for addresses for people who are here for business matters, can use their business address if they so choose, would be an exception that I think.
I think
would
that's
support.
kind of one of the ways we've kind of addressed it in the past, was if they're representing a business, to use their
That's
business
how
address.
we have, but it's not spelled out that
It's
way.
not spelled out. I understand, okay. The other thing, I guess from an address standpoint, from a personal address, if somebody didn't want to give it over the record, they could write it down for.
That'd be fine
you
too,
know,
but I think if we're gonna spell it out that they have to provide their address, then I think we should spell it out. Or if we're gonna make those accommodations, I think they need to be spelled out. Because we're going through the effort of spelling it out now, I think it'd be good to add that clarification in.
So communicate their name and address if they want to, for the record?
No, they have to provide their address. It can be either verbally or written for the minutes. And if they are here representing a business, they can use their business address.
But the minutes are a public record.
Yeah, I was going to
So-
say the address goes into the minutes anyway.
It's going to be known.
In one of the discussions we heard at NLC, they've said that people could identify themselves as residents of the city or not. That we wouldn't have documentation of how to prove that, but that way they're not spelling it out. In this day and age, it's pretty easy once you have someone's name to find their address. So I don't know how to come down on it, because we did hear that people feel very uncomfortable giving that information.
And in that I attended the same conference as Ms. Hands. They said you could just write it down and provide it, but if you don't want to verbally, but as it was brought up, it would still be in our minutes, so I don't know if that helps any or not, so.
What do
But
we
this
use
is what's currently in there, so this isn't new. This is what is in the current governing body rules. So this is this is how we've been operating, or at least this is the verbiage that is in your governing body rules that's governed the way that we've operated for however long it's been in there.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Hay, do you have a question?
what do we use the addresses for? Just for record?
We use the addresses for the record for if there are issues that we need to follow up on. We know who they are that's speaking. I mean, I think historically, everywhere I've ever been wants to know if you're a resident or a non-resident. I mean, we use the addresses because it helps us run down if there's a concern. If somebody says, hey, my name's Joe, I live at 123 65th Street, and they have some sort of concern or complaint because it's not a debate or a conversation that we have during public, we know how to run that problem down and we know how to get a hold of them.
Could we ask for their, I'll say ward, a lot of people don't know what ward they're in, but if they're a resident or non-resident, and then if they have a specific issue related to their neighborhood, we can ask them for their address to follow up?
We can do whatever the city council would like.
What are the fields on the blue sheet? Right in front of you.
What was the question, I'm sorry?
Do we ask people to write their address on the blue sheet?
Yeah, well, they could, well, they could, it just has, it has their name, their address, and the topic that they want on here, so.
We just ask them.
And that's why I was saying that they didn't necessarily have to verbalize it, which would be videotaped, but they could write it on here.
If they can
But if
fill it
somebody
out
does
there,
make a
that's fine.
request, they could still get it, but it wouldn't be out there on the internet.
That'd be fine with me. I just think if we're gonna allow some people not to give their address, then we need to codify it, what those stipulations are. And if they wanna write it down when they speak, and then it just becomes our record in case we need to follow up, that's fine with me. I don't really have any desire for the people to publicly give their address every time they speak.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Shveta.
We just need to make sure we're capturing it if they have an issue, because a lot of people will speak and then leave. So then staff or council isn't able to follow up if we don't have that address. Like I write it down, and if they're a Ward 4 resident, I try to follow up.
Could we stipulate that if you would like a follow-up, please give us your address?
Yeah, I mean,
Is
I
that
guess.
a possibility?
Or just I guess you could also just let people opt out.
Well, if they opt out and we can't contact them, that's on them, so.
Right, like,
And when you have a big issue and you've got 60 people in here, don't you want to know how many of them are residents that are yelling at you versus people that aren't?
I do.
Agree.
I definitely do.
I also think that we provided multiple ways for people to get a hold of the city staff, their council members. When they come here to talk to us, something has gotten them out of the house to come talk to us. And I feel like at that point, they should be willing to share their information with the city for follow-up. I don't have a problem with asking people to provide their name and address.
You know, everybody knows our name, everybody knows our address. I don't think it's too much to ask for people to come to address us to provide the same information.
and if they have a public safety fear, then we can address it at the time.
I think we're kind of all over the fence on this one. I'm not sure where we land.
I think I'm the only one who seems to have it as an issue, so if the rest of the governing body feels otherwise, then that's fine.
If we didn't have so many other ways for people to share their feelings with us, I would maybe consider your thoughts on this. But like I said, people don't necessarily have to come here to get a hold of anyone to share their concerns, their needs. And so I think it should stay as is, where they share their name and address.
I'm going to ask Mr. Dink to weigh in on this one as well, too. Is there any problem with us asking for their name and address?
No.
All right. So does that seem to be the consensus or the majority anyway, to leave your name and address for the record? Okay. you, Mr. Engel. Okay, anything else?
Do you have anything else?
Okay, any other questions concerning what they brought forward this evening for us? Yeah? No? All right, well, I would, okay, is that a question, or are you going to make a motion?
When we were having our discussion at Agenda Review, we talked about that we have public hearings, we have the public comments, and then on each action item, we would have something about public response or something like that. I don't remember the exact words.
That's not correct. What we discussed is that there is a provision in here that says, and it's actually in our current language, it says an alternate method for accepting public comment may be established if special circumstances exist. The mayor would approve any changes in procedure in advance, and notice of such procedures would be included on the agenda. That's in our current governing body rules. I gave the example, if I recall, that we have an item where we know there's going to be a bunch of people that would show up. We've worked with our agenda software people that we can actually put underneath an item on the agenda. Public comment will be taken here, something to that effect,
That's
so
what I
that if
remember.
people come and we know we're going to have 50 people in the room that want to talk about an agenda item, and there's somebody that just wants to say, hey, you guys are doing a great job, we don't want to deter them from being able to get up, say we don't want to intermingle all of those if we know we have in advance an item that's likely. We could put that on there and maybe only 2 people show up, but in advance we would be able to add that to the agenda.
Okay.
So we would not do that every item.
Oh, I knew it wasn't every item.
Yeah, it would just be items that when we talk about setting the agenda where we would go, ooh, this probably is a topic that we're
Right.
going to have a handful of
Right.
folks there. We want to give them, let's isolate that conversation to the topic. And we would put it
Exactly.
on the agenda so people would know in advance.
Exactly. Thank you.
Could I just add maybe one more piece? You know, the general public comment section at the beginning of the meeting isn't required. Some cities don't have it. The only public comment required by law is when there's a statutory required public hearing. Public comment after agenda items when the statute doesn't require a public hearing, that's totally discretionary. Many cities, in fact, I think almost all the cities I deal with will just have a public comment section at the beginning, and then they'll allow public comment if there's a public hearing. But when you go agenda item by agenda item, they're not allowing people to come up on every agenda item and provide public comment. So just so you know, because we've done things in Merriam a certain way for a long time, and so you may have an expectation that that's what's required by law. And I just want you to know what the legal requirements are in this respect.
Thanks, sir. Yeah. All right, anybody have other questions at this point? Okay, I see a hand in the back here. Mr. Cronin, if you'd like to come forward and address it this time, or allocate the rest of your time.
Yes. Billy Crone, 6633 Wedge Street. So I'm going to share with you 7210 Maston Street in Edelweiss. It's one of the council people that's okay with making everyone give their address. And if that makes you uncomfortable, maybe you should think twice about forcing it on the public. If it doesn't, then raise your hand so we know which one of you it is. Okay, thank you, Bruce. Yeah, I think you shouldn't force people to give their address. Frankly, you're not checking IDs. You don't know if that's true or not. Even their name, it's irrelevant. You're here to listen to the public, so do so, and don't put too many strings on it. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else want to weigh in on that out there? Okay, no, all right. Well, I would entertain a motion for this then, if we want to move forward with this item. We're going, moving forward, or do we not want to?
What
Ms. Rivera.
exactly is the
Or
motion?
Ms. Yadrich, go ahead.
Well, I was going to
Sorry.
say, what exactly is,
Oh, was it?
There's 2 optional.
there are 2 options, yeah. So,
Unless you
yes.
want the alternate, I assume that we would,
Did we have changes we wanted to call out in the motion for?
Only
I would
In-
say as changes as proposed, or as first.
just remove
Just remove that,
profanity.
yeah, remove that one item.
Just to clarify, what is that we're not going to change the time, and that we're going to remove the word profanity from the list of types and topics not permitted.
Okay, then I'll read it as is, since we've proposed those changes. Okay. So, Mr. Mayor, I move that the council approve the proposed amendments to Section 4A of the governing body rules of procedure, public items.
Okay, we have a,
Do we,
did that include
Sorry,
everything?
do
You
we
need
need-
to also remove the,
yeah.
as amended.
As amended.
I said as amended, in there, or as proposed,
Okay,
as
pro-
amended.
As proposed, okay, amended. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Okay, Mr. Silvers.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion second, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Yodrich.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Kosemeyer.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Looks like next item up on the council items would be consider approval of a purchase of the real property. Looks like we have Mr. Engel coming to the podium.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I've got a quick two-page, I think, hopefully. Next item on your agenda is property acquisition. Consider approval of purchase of real property at 5030 Merriam Drive. At 5030 Merriam Drive, there exists a 724 square foot residential dwelling constructed in 1910 with a detached garage. It is situated on 5,328 square foot of land. It is immediately to the south of the, what we call the Dutch Maid property that the city has owned for a number of years, as well as catty corner from other property that the city has purchased over the last several years. We call this kind of the north gateway entrance into downtown. You can see the picture on the left. The purple X's are the properties that the city currently already owns. The picture on the right is a picture of the home on 5030. That property, the city was contacted late last year by the owner of that property looking to sell that property, wanting to get out from under it. We had a conversation about property acquisition, and when we talked about the possibilities of if the city were to buy it, if the city were not to buy it, what would come from that property. Recognizing that that property is in the North Gateway, it is immediately adjacent to other property that we already own. We decided to make an offer on it. The offer that was accepted is $150,000 plus some outstanding taxes that are due. Next slide. There's outstanding taxes on it, about $5,000 plus $2,300 of current taxes, so about $7,300. Plus we will pick up the closing costs. So purchase price we're recommending this evening of $150,000, but a do not exceed amount of $160,000. That property was appraised at $189,000, so considerably less than the appraisal value of that property. It is an as-is purchase. We would anticipate likely somewhere this summer, if we have Midland Wrecking working for some other properties for us, we would probably take them to that property. That property is a 1910 property. It does not have your modern amenities such as air conditioning, and it's an old house. It's one of the three. I think there's 3 houses left on Merriam Drive. It's this house and then 2 houses to the south, I think, in terms of residential properties that are located on, and there actually is one on the east side also on Merriam Drive, but there's only a handful of properties left that remain on Merriam Drive. Again, the benefit of this property is the fact that it is immediately adjacent to property we already own at the former Dutch Maid. Happy to answer any questions about that.
Any questions, Mr. Engel?
Agreement is
Mr.
in the
Leahy,
packet.
go ahead.
Can you talk a little bit, can you go to the map slide? The narrow sliver that is being used as a driveway, is that city property?
Sure. That is city property, so to the right, you can kind of see where there's a van parked in it in the picture, but you can see the little purple X right above the red X. That is a abandoned street that has been used probably since 1910 as their driveway, but it actually is city property. It's property that the city already owns.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Engel?
Abandoned street, correct? That is an abandoned street or an alleyway?
It is.
It is alley right away that's not been improved. It is not uncommon in this area, but yeah, that's what it is. Most likely has utilities and other things running through it as well.
Other questions, Mr. Engel? Okay, well, seeing no other questions, I would entertain a motion. Go to Ms. Showdridge.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council approve the purchase of real property located at 5030 Merriam Drive in an amount not to exceed $160,000.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Go ahead, Ms. Shveta.
Mr. Mayor, second.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion, a second.
Councilmember Caldwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Yodridge.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Kosemeyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Looks like the next item of the evening is consider approval of a proposed beekeeping ordinance. Okay, looks like we have Zach coming forward.
Hello, Council. This item is the first reading of a proposed beekeeping ordinance. So the purpose of this ordinance is essentially to establish some rules and regulations regarding beekeeping that fall in line with the already existing rules and regulations Merriam has for other pets, specifically including humane treatment and adequate facilities as well as veterinary care. The ordinance proposes specifically that we limit the number of beehives per property to 2, maintaining that they must be kept behind the front line to keep in line with other codes that we provide regarding trash cans and other large accessory structures. In addition to that, we are mandating that all beehives would be a Langstroth hive, which from my understanding from research is one of the more standard types of hives in the United States, and this is also a type of hive required by several other neighboring cities. Beyond that, we would require a flyway barrier as well to maintain, to direct bee flight up to try and keep them out of the way of residents and hopefully reduce contact. Otherwise, the general provisions try to maintain community character while maintaining a general good standard of care for the bees themselves and hopefully not imposing undue requirements on beekeepers. I would be happy to answer any questions.
I have a question concerning and we've given some limits on the height itself. Should have a height in excess of 5 feet, and we're going to have a limit of 2. But how big are those things? Could it be 40 feet long as long as it was 5 feet under? Or
Generally speaking, they are, from my understanding, the hives themselves are not particularly long. If you would like us to include a width restriction, that is absolutely doable. But from my understanding of the general construction of a Langstroth hive, they do not tend to be very long. They're boxes that have frames inside of them that are intended to be removed. So the width is kind of limited by the fact that you want to be able to remove these frames to inspect the bees and gather the honey.
Okay, go ahead.
Why are we doing this? Do we have a bee problem?
We do not. This was brought to our attention because a resident recently called PD about a month ago to request to keep bees, and we realized we didn't have an ordinance for this, and staff feels that it was a good idea to get some regulations on the ground just to maintain a sort of control on it so it doesn't become a problem. This is also in line with several other neighboring cities that have beekeeping ordinances, whether that just be a simple license or something much more detailed.
Go ahead.
Follow up. How many beehives do we currently have in the city?
I do not know. I can follow up to get an answer to you later.
Okay. Other questions? Go ahead, Ms. Hands.
Wouldn't it make sense that if people have bigger lots, they could have more than 2 hives?
The initial draft was just proposed based on several of the requirements in neighboring cities. So Overland Park and Lenexa both maintain that there are a maximum of 3 hives within any space between 100 and 600 feet of a residential property other than the residence of the beekeeper themselves. Olathe maintains that there is a maximum of 2 hives. Let me double check that. Yes, maximum of 2 hives on any property less than 3 acres with no maximum above 3. The 2 per property was just chosen due to the fact that Merriam is mostly developed, so the assumption was that many beehives would be located already close to residential property.
And then just to follow up, I've known about several properties that have had beehives for 40 years. So it seems strange to be coming up with an ordinance at this point.
It's all the buzz now.
See that?
It's the bee's knees.
Uh-huh.
Oh, go ahead.
I think
Mr.
to
Lahey.
Bruce's point, we don't know how many beekeepers we have because we don't have an ordinance requiring it or requiring licensing. I do have some concerns about the level of restrictions we're putting on something that doesn't seem to be a problem, especially considering while we are almost fully developed, we do have some rather large lot sizes, and I think allowing for some leeway especially for larger lot sizes. Is it per quarter acre? Is it 2 + 1 for every quarter acre you have above a quarter? I'd like to see it opened up to a little bit wider range of what people are allowed to keep. Apparently it's not an issue with anybody keeping too many, so I'd rather start larger and allow people some more flexibility to have multiple hives. I know how hard it is to raise a hive and the risk of losing one. And if you don't have any leeway to have multiple hives at a time, you may be out all of your bees in a bad season. So I personally would rather see us expand how many hives people can keep. I'd also like to see us widen the breadth of what types of beehives people can keep, because when I was doing research, the Langstroth hive is a very specific one, and there are others that are similar but are labeled differently. And I think that just because it's the most popular doesn't mean it should be the only one that we allow to use in the city.
Good point. Mr. Silvers?
I feel like I fall in line with Bruce if I understand your comment or your question. I know that there's not going to be any kind of fee for registering your hives with the city. I'm not sure if we listed any penalties, but bees are a natural resource which are struggling now. High bee numbers are going down worldwide, and so I just am kind of afraid that putting these restrictions on people to keep bees would maybe cause them to second guess whether they wanted to pursue something that they could find as a interesting hobby, and as a result help our community and essentially the world. I don't know if this is necessary. And Chris, you said that you've known people who've had it for 40 years. I don't know, except for the one complaint that we recently had.
It wasn't a complaint, though. It was an inquiry about someone who wanted to possibly keep bees.
I think I know we have at least one person in our ward that has a hive. Sorry, Amy.
I don't think personally that putting a restriction on the number of bees hives is necessary. Also, mirroring their comments, we have a lot of native bees in our neighborhood or in our area as well, and there are other options actually very different options for those bees. And so for someone who's doing this as a hobby, not necessarily collecting the honey or anything, it would maybe make it a sticky situation for people to have like a neighbor saying, oh, these guys are like harvesting their honey from these bees that are aggressive or whatever, and they're really not. So I think putting too much restriction on it is gonna just cause undue problems.
Sure.
In addition, the height of the walls and stuff, I know for people who do want honeybees, it's an already it can be a fairly expensive upfront cost to have them, and so to have them required to put up an additional structure for their hives might deter people.
Mr. Lahey, you had something else?
What do we do for chickens? I'm sorry, what do we do for chickens?
I believe currently we just have a no-fee license. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
We do not regulate chickens in the city of Merriam unless they constitute a nuisance. So we do not regulate chickens.
Go ahead, Ms. Shveta.
So why are we regulating bees? I mean, neighbors of mine have 1.5 to 2 acre lots at least. And like, I'm not, it just doesn't make sense to me personally. And I know we have people in the audience that are here to talk about it, so I'd love to hear their
Yeah,
thoughts
we're gonna
as
call
well.
them forward in a
And I know
moment,
you
so-
will, but I'm really curious because I haven't heard anything about this with my residents, so.
I haven't. Yep, go ahead, Ms. Ryder.
The only thing that I would say I would like to see is people who have bees, like when we have dogs and cats, we have to provide food for them. And so people who have bees, I would like for them to have food sources for their bees instead of requiring that they, have a crystal clear green yard and their bees then have to forage in neighbors' yards. So that would be the one thing I would like to see.
Are we ready to call forward our people that want to speak on this item?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right, thank you, Zach. If you both want to come up at the same time, I'll get you from the same residence. You want to do one at a time, whichever you prefer. This would be, I got Justin Gomez and Jordan Gomez from the same address, so.
Hi, Justin Gomez, 9907 West 70th Terrace.
And Jordan Gomez, same address.
So I guess I'll just start off by saying that your comments are kind of make me feel pretty good because I feel like I don't need to say nearly as much as I was planning to because I think a lot of you are on the same page I am. But I guess I'll keep this relatively short. Merriam has thrived for 75 years without restricting beekeeping, so unless there's a documented problem that's growing, I don't see why there would be a need to pass sweeping restrictions on beekeeping in the city. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because fixing it in the wrong way could have unintended consequences that do more harm than good. Merriam is praised as being possibly the most livestock-friendly city in Johnson County, and I want to see it stay that way. What neighboring cities choose to do to restrict beekeeping should not be a justification to restrict beekeeping here in a similar manner, and I think sounds like a lot of you agree with that. So Merriam's just right. Let's keep it that way. The ordinance as written imposes a one-size-fits-all approach to restricting the beekeeping and, should be reevaluated or, I honestly agree with you all, probably should just be eliminated. And like I said, ain't broke, don't fix it. Some of the provisions in there are, they're well-intentioned, but some of them are misguided. Could end up having the opposite effect. Creating some of these restrictions would create even more nuisance for citizens. Again, just good intentions, but maybe a little bit misguided. So basically, yeah, I just want to reiterate kind of what you guys have already said, and I would love to see beekeeping continue unrestricted in the city. I don't know if you have anything to add.
I would like to say that the ordinance as it was written seems to lack a lot of understanding of beekeeping and how you go about it, and also the behavior of bees. And so if you do feel in the future that possibly an ordinance on beekeeping would make sense, that there are a lot of local organizations that you could partner with and get some subject matter experts to weigh in on it and have rules and stipulations that make sense for beekeeping. Yeah.
And yeah, to kind of echo what Jordan was saying, people call and ask, because I kind of wondered if the origin of this was that someone, we were thinking that someone's calling and complaining about bees in their yard, but turned out what I thought all along was I bet somebody who wants to be a beekeeper called the city up and said, what are the guidelines, And so I can kind of see the need to, or the desire to pass an ordinance, but rather than that, there's an organization, Northeast Kansas Beekeepers Association. There's Bob Burns is in attendance back there, and there's a lot of expertise out there in the area already, and I'm sure that leaning on organizations such as that to provide guidance and best practices for beekeeping, referring people to the experts who are already established in the area may be the best course of action as opposed to passing restrictions.
Yeah, and I would encourage you to table this, maybe set it aside, learn a little more about beekeeping, but I'd also like to take it a step further and maybe put that energy towards a pollinator program or something, kind of like Amy was talking about, because honeybees are kind of the bee that most people keep, but there are a lot of other pollinators that Merriam, especially being a suburb that has fewer restrictions on livestock, and that's what a lot of people love about Merriam. So if you were to develop a pollinator program instead, where you could utilize your green space and say, we as Merriam want to support these pollinators and the environment around us, I think that would be a better use of the energy instead of making this ordinance. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming forward. Okay, Ms. Shadrich.
I would like to say that I trust anything Amy has to say on this topic because she has the formal education and in practice to give us more information. And it does feel to me like this is not a complete ordinance. I would be comfortable tabling it. I feel like we should be encouraging people to practice keeping bees and things that are more environment friendly, then we should be putting restrictions on them.
Okay. So you're putting that in the form of a motion to table this? To
I
another date?
can, but I think there's more people
Okay.
who need to
All right,
speak.
well, before
Yeah.
we do that, we do have another hand up. We still have time for this gentleman to still speak?
Yes, he has a couple minutes.
Okay, there you go. Please come forward, sir.
2:58 when I saw the clock last, and I won't need all of that.
Yes.
It is silly that this got this far. Someone unfortunately asked permission from the government to do something, and the response was, we need to regulate it, when it's never been a problem, admittedly, in the history of our city. That is endemic, and it's something we need to work on as a people. We don't need to ask the government for permission to do just any old thing. It's in the constitutions of the state, the 20th Bill of Rights in the state of Kansas, and the 9th and 10th in the federal constitution. People have all rights to do all things unless such is specifically enumerated. Our codes are searchable. If you want to have bees, you can search the website and your answer is right there. There's no regulation, so enjoy. Yeah, we should figure out how it got this far and how we spent so much staff time on something that was clearly unnecessary, because that's a waste of tax money. But I think you're all on the same page, so have a nice one.
Okay. Well, having heard everybody's comments, please go forward, Ms. Shadrich.
So I would say, Mr. Mayor, I move that we table a proposed beekeeping ordinance.
Okay, we have a motion to table this item. Is there a second? I have a question. Oh, okay, sure. Mr. Cole, go ahead.
I have a question.
Turn on your
What is the motion? Do we need a motion? Do we just not do it?
If you table it,
If we just want to kill it.
Do we want to?
table it, it's supposed to come back.
We have to,
Yeah.
it has to come back, and
at
but
the
what,
next meeting.
Right, but if you don't want one.
We don't
then
want to
there's no point.
table this if we don't want to do it.
Is it the intent then that we don't discuss this anymore, that we're okay with just removing it?
Nobody makes a motion.
Amy, you,
We
I
don't.
think we have another comment too.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, please come forward, sir. Name and address for the record.
Mr. Mayor and Council, my name's Robert Burns. I go by Bob also. I reside in 7601 West 54th Terrace. I'm in Overland Park, but I'm not very far from Merriam. Little introduction. Under Irene French, I did the Merriam Farmers Market for 14 years when it started in 1999. A year and a half under the shed over there by the Southwestern Bell Building on Merriam Lane, and then when the new structure was opened up, I was there for 12 and a half, 13 years. I was a honey vendor there. I'm a beekeeper. I've been a beekeeper since the early 70s. It was a 6th grade field trip to the Agricultural Hall of Fame in Bonner Springs. I went to Santa Fe Trail Elementary, Overland Park Elementary for my 6th grade when that was our science field trip when I got the bug. Started in junior high, went to Milburn Junior High, Shawnee Mission North, graduated in '79, Johnson County Community College, and then KU. But I've always had bees the whole time, so that's more than 50 years now. But I enjoyed my time. I turned my space over. I work downtown, live in the suburbs. My mother bought a farm in Miami County, so I get all three best of the worlds, urban, suburban, and rural. I do have bees in Merriam, 1 yard with 4 colonies for a decade. Very good friends of mine, they requested to have them there, 5217 England. And then also I've got some very good friends that are associated with what used to be a garden group. They have the forest garden there at 5425 Maston, I believe. And I have a minimum of 10 hives over there. Currently, it's only 9. And I've had those hives over there since 2005. So I do have bees in Merriam. Used to have hives. I helped a neighbor because I lend my expertise to friends and neighbors. And they used to own the property right behind the Kmart, what used to be the Kmart, which has that new developed there now. So we had 3 hives over there for about 8 years. So I know some other beekeepers that live in Merriam. I'm the treasurer of the Northeastern Kansas Beekeepers Association for 20 plus years. When they found out I was in finance, which was my career, and I'm retired now, I got into that and haven't been able to find a replacement. If you have any questions or if I can contribute, you know, if it's necessary, I like bees. At least the ones where I am haven't caused any problems. I know my friends at 54th and Maston, they own 3 houses there, so they've got a big lot in the backyard, and that's where we keep the bees there. Besides the forest garden that they have on the corner, I share the honey with them, and so you know, my knowledge is vast, and I don't want to get into it too much. But the Langstroth hive is the standard hive. There are other types of hives, and it's basically 22 by 12 and a half, and the height varies in the season right now. The population of bees peaks in the summertime. When we hit the solstice, everything is downhill for the rest of the season. And so we harvest the honey by end of September if we don't do it in July. And then we cut it down to 1 or 2 boxes for the rest of the season. The population in the colony is usually only about 15,000 bees. It sounds like a lot, but there are a lot of other problems that bees have with small hive beetle that came over from Africa. It's been in the Kansas area for the last 15 years. And we have a mite that we got in the late 80s. I thought I was immune to it, lost all my colonies. And I bounced back a couple times. I raised my own queens. I always picked the gentlest ones, so I know a lot about the genetics. And it's just something I enjoy, and I'm retired, and that's what I do. And I sell, most of my honey goes to other beekeepers. I still have some regular customers from the farmer's market, though, that keep in touch. But I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, so getting back, Mr. Engel, do we need a motion just to let this
So
die, or just say we don't want to move forward, or do we
No,
just let?
if there is
those in?
consensus, we will just, because this is a first reading, it would need to come back. But if there's consensus that we do not want to move forward with this item, I just won't put it on the next agenda, and
We're just done with it.
and we're just done with it.
That's
Yes,
good.
sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay, well,
Then I think we're just done with it.
so
The bees are safe.
we don't need a recension of her or anything. We're just done. Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. Let's we can move on to consider approval of agreement with the Kansas Secretary of Transportation. Who's taking that one on? Looks like we got Director Kumpke.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As you know, the Merriam Drive 55th to 50th Terrace project is currently under design with construction in 2027. Staff applied and received over $2.8 million in federal funds. In order to receive the funds, we need to execute an agreement with KDOT. The agreement identifies roles and responsibilities for both KDOT and the city. As part of the agreement, they require specific contract language for design, and since the design agreement has already been approved, that would require an amendment to the current design agreement between the city and Olson. And some of those provisions are the design criteria to be used, progress reports, and project schedule requirements. So approval of this agreement and amendment number 1 will allow the city to receive federal funds for this project. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions for Director Kumpke concerning this matter? Go ahead, Ms. Shveta, go
Just
ahead.
one quick question. I assume Olson is familiar with these requirements and they're comfortable with everything? Yeah,
Correct.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions for Director Kumpke? Nope, I seeing none, I would entertain a motion. Okay,
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council approve an agreement with the Kansas Secretary of Transportation and amendment number 1 with Olson, Inc. for the Merriam Drive 55th Street to 50th Terrace project.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Go ahead, Ms. Shveta.
Mr. Mayor, I second.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we have a motion, a second.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Yodrich.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Kosemeyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, thank you, Director. We have another one. Or you're going to do the, oh, we're ready to move on. January CIP update, I guess that's what you're going to speak about next.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So the January CIP update is in your packet, and as always, I'm happy to answer any questions you have. I do want to highlight a couple projects. Our underground utilities project, as of today, all the conduit is off the poles, so now we just need to get the poles down. We've reached out to Evergy. I haven't heard back from them yet, but we'll be working with them as closely as possible. I'll get back with you as soon as we have a deadline for removing those off the poles. And then the 49th Street project. I'm sure you're all aware that we're well behind schedule. I've talked to the contractor. They're estimating, depending on weather, they have about 2.5 more weeks of work. They're currently grading for sod, depending on the weather, whether they can put the sod down this year or not. But as long as the sod farms are open, we'll go ahead and do that. And then we'd have to come back in the spring if there's any issues. But a lot of times, sod takes pretty well during the cold weather. They also have a little bit of sidewalk and integral retaining wall on 49th Street, close to Antioch, and then there's some pavement markings. So once that work is done, we'll walk the project, we'll develop a punch list, and they will identify items that need repair or any items they've missed, and then those will be addressed before we come back to you for approval of the final pavement or the final payment. The focus is on getting the project done right now, but I did want to let you know that we do have some provisions in our contract that we have a calendar completion date, and since the contractor didn't meet that, we do have provisions for assessing liquidated damages. So as I said, the focus is getting the project done, but I'll be working with the city attorney to determine next steps on that. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions, Director Kupke? Okay, I see no questions this time. Okay.
Thank you.
If some of those manholes, I understand, has been kind of an issue of with the level of the asphalt. Is anything going to be done at all with those until this is finished, or maybe it's completed by now?
I drove it today and it is completed.
Oh, okay. Last time I drove it, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, none? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, informational, oh, go ahead. We have our finance director coming forward at this point. November finance reports looks like it's next. Okay.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. In front of you is the November report. Nothing to report there. Next meeting, you will have very preliminary end-of-year numbers, which is more exciting than just 1 month, I think. So happy to answer any questions if you have them, though.
Any questions, Director Borth?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Engel, does staff have anything before we?
I've got a couple of reminders, but I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Guard to talk a little bit about AV in the council chambers, which we have in the budget this year. Before we come forward with a contract, I wanted her to share with you what we plan to do and make sure it meets your expectations.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, during the budget conversations last year, it was requested by the governing body to upgrade the AV in the council chambers here, particularly for remote call-in. Andy has done a fantastic job in researching that, and we believe that we have a solution. It's going to be a Zoom-based solution. It will require some upgrades to the AV. It will be significantly under budget, but we wanted to bring that forward to you, just to let you know that you will have the ability to call in, better audio on your end when you call in. It won't be over the phone. It would be like in a Zoom meeting. Additionally, you would also be able to see the presentations when you're remote as well, which I know was a concern. So if you all are okay with that, or anything else additional that you'd like us to look into before we bring a contract forward, I'd be happy to do so.
Okay, questions, Ms. Guard? Go ahead, Mr. Silvers.
I just had a quick question. Because it's Zoom-based and we will be able to see the presentations, and I'm probably the gallery here, will our images be up on the screen as well, or is it not that?
Not necessarily. There's a setting in a Zoom webinar. Sorry, I don't want to get too technical, but in Zoom webinar, there's a setting in which we can remove any other images.
Any additional questions? Ms. Scott? Oh, go ahead, Ms. Shveta.
Sorry, not that I expect this, but we would still be recording the meetings like we are now and
Yes, ma'am.
posting them the day after.
The YouTube.
Got
Yes.
it. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Kuzma.
Yeah, and the intent of this is not to allow remote participation from the public, right? Public participation still needs to be here.
That's correct. Yes. Thank you for clarifying that. This is specifically for the availability of the council to remote call in.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Okay, so was there anything else? We think we've covered everything? We're all good with it. Thank you, Ms. Card. Okay. Mr.
Couple
Ringo.
other updates. Holiday tree pickup is this week. If you've still got your tree, get it out to the curb. The administrative offices will be closed on Monday in observance of Martin Luther King Day. The community center will operate with normal hours. Friday, January 16th, Shawnee Mission North is going to have their State of the School address, which should be pretty cool. And then wanted to just let everybody know that after 23 years of dedicated service, Dave Smothers, Smo, in Park and Rec is going to be retiring on February 13th. So that's
Happy Valentine's Day.
We'll send him out with a smile, as he has shared with us for 23 years. So happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions, Mr. Engel? Okay. No questions for Mr. Engel. Okay, I understand that there is an executive session you'd like to move forward with. That would be in the 30 minutes, okay?
30 minutes,
That's-
so that
Okay.
puts us
I
at,
would entertain a motion for that.
that'd be 8, should I say 8:53, 55?
Let's call it 55, yeah. Nice even number.
Right.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Shutter.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the governing body recess into executive session for preliminary discussion related to property acquisition pursuant to KSA 75-4319B6, which allows the governing body to hold an executive session for preliminary discussion of property acquisition. Present will be the governing body, city attorney, city administrator, assistant city administrator, and community development director. The meeting will reconvene in the council chambers at 8:55 p.m.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second? Go ahead, Mr. Leahy.
I second that.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we have a motion, second.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Yodrich.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Kozmeyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Councilmember Caldwell.
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And for those in the audience, we'll be recessing for 30 minutes. When we come back, we're just going to adjourn. So if anybody would like to leave at this time, please feel free to do so. Thank you. Yeah, I'll go ahead and call the meeting back to order again. And I would also entertain a motion to adjourn. Go ahead, Ms. Shadridge.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. Okay, Ms. Shveta.
Mr. Mayor, second.
Madam Clerk, a motion second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.